you that tailoring piece.
Yeah.
So that's why, it might be good if you're not looking right now, this might be a good opportunity or a good time to try to put something together. So what I did was, I just went on the Chronicle of Higher Ed, and have any of you used that to look for jobs? I mean, it's really, really good. And so I just looked for faculty positions, and I was trying to look for ones that said, that wanted a research statement. Now, what's interesting, I was looking for, humanities, arts and humanities types of jobs, and I mean, there's very few that ask for research statements. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I mean, in your experience, or have you been looking, or
For tenure track jobs, they almost all ask
for research
but
statements? So
the
can you
shortest
push-
one is the big, amazing.
Okay, the 1 to 2 pages. Yeah. Okay. So basically, these examples that I just printed out are more, I think, science oriented, because I was having a hard time finding, just looking for arts and humanities. Most of them were looking for teaching. But anyway, one thing when you're looking at these job applications is, if they don't tell you to, put in a research statement, in sort of the first tier of applying, don't put it in. So, sometimes they'll ask CV and cover letter, and maybe a list of references. That's what I would do. So don't give them any more information at that point unless they ask for it. But when they do ask, and these are what the examples are in your handout, all of these asked for, some research statement. So I just sort of, basically, what I highlighted was things that, you would look for. So if you were applying to Appalachian State University for this assistant professor position in geology. So it says right here, must possess a strong commitment to undergraduate education and undergraduate research. So right then and there that when you're writing a research statement, you need to somehow incorporate that this is important to you, say in your philosophy, important to you that maybe in your future directions. I mean, maybe I wouldn't imagine that a lot of you are incorporating undergraduates in your current research, but to give them that idea that you're committed to that, basically, and that's part of your philosophy. Giving back. I received really good mentoring, and I would want to give that back to students. That's the kind of stuff that they would want to see.
So this example is asking for a statement of teaching and research interests. How are some ways that you would suggest structuring those when they're together?
Yeah, there are two. Yeah, I think that CFE does something on teaching statements, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
But if they have to be in the same document, because I have my teaching portfolio statement, but if I had to put them together, I'd be hard pressed.
I think that when they're saying that, they basically want two statements.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't want you to combine it,
Okay.
basically.
So I've seen some though that ask for, like, called a letter of application or whatever, with brief, they want it within it. So they do want some brief statement of research and teaching statements within one document, because they want it small. And it seems to be some of the smaller schools, I think, might want that.
But what specifically do they say?
It'll say a letter of application or something containing brief statements of teaching and research interests.
Yeah. Brian, I'm wondering if that's something that she can mention in her cover letter.
That's a cover letter.
But they also say cover letter as well.
So some of the smaller schools, the expectation will be for you to integrate research into your teaching and doing research with undergraduate students. So in that case, it may be where you would meld the two, but typically they are two separate students.
And that's a question I would definitely, I think, a good question to ask the contact person in the job you're applying, just just saying that, do you want two separate statements for research and teaching, or do you want a combined statement? And so, okay, so what, then maybe the question you would ask, say if it was combined, how would you, how would you combine it? How would you structure it? So another question to ask is, how long do you want this thing? Okay? And then I would still go with some kind of introduction with philosophy, your current research. Well, I guess what, previous research, current research, and then future. And maybe, or maybe previous, current, and future, but make it, both research and teaching, like with two separate paragraphs in each. Does that make sense? So, you may have to be really, really succinct in something like that, say if it's asking for, 2 different pages. Are there any other questions? The other thing is, again, this also goes into, putting together an academic job in the first place, is geology department has 18 faculty members and more than 90 majors, and, it gives a little sense. I would definitely, put some effort, put some time into, investigating this department and, really, making that come out in your cover letter and your research statement, your whole portfolio, that you really, really have a good sense of this department to which you're applying. And so I'm just, and also the research that's going on in this particular, particular university. I'm going to the next one. Okay, so here in this one, this is the Stevens Institute of Technology. So preference will be given to the candidates who exhibit potential for significant research contributions within an interdisciplinary community of scholars. So you really want to highlight that in your research statement if you're applying to this place and your background is finance. They also, successful candidates will engage in high-quality scholarly research and develop and teach undergraduate and graduate courses in finance. So again, the interaction with students is really, really important here. They mention students, and again, how many people are there. So it's something that you want to show that you care about. It's not just about, I just want to get my research done. They wouldn't be as interested in you in this particular university. And then lastly, let's see, this is the Oklahoma State. They also care about graduate student scholarship. And they also want you to help with thesis and dissertation advisement. So again, the heavy emphasis on the teaching aspect in research. This one even says research including comments regarding future research pursuits. Like I said, I think that if you follow this basic structure in this handout, I think that this is a good structure to have, for research statements in general. So that's basically it. I know I talk really fast, and it's before the time. Are there any questions?
One thing I noticed is they have often this open until field. So is it okay to just write and say, is this position filled? Can I ask about that?
I would instead say, is this position still open?
Oh,
That's what I would say. Yeah, definitely. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. It's just like program officers for grant funding agencies. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. It's good to, before you put all this effort into it, make sure that all of the questions are asked. You don't want to apply to some place where they already have candidates in mind and they're going to, you know, they have it open because of whatever, equal opportunity things, but they already have candidates in mind. I mean, you know, why waste your time if they've, you know, if it's been open for what, 6 months or something like that. I mean, these things take time. I think that's why they say open until filled. Some places I have seen deadlines, you know, where they say you have to apply by a certain date. So that, you know, that answers your question there. But yeah, definitely ask, like, if they're still looking.
So Suzanne, I have another question.
Yeah.
You had talked about investigating the department. So let's say there's an institution that you may be interested in, but you don't know anyone in the department. What are some tips you would have in terms of investigating the department, learning more about the culture and things of that nature?
Well, I mean, what's great is we have the internet, so I think that's one good way of finding these things out and really looking at the CVs of the individuals. Yeah, if you don't know any specific people in that department, I mean, you could always reach out and say, could I just come and visit your department? I mean, you know, if you wanted to do that, if you had the time and money to do that. But I'm not saying that's you know, completely necessary. But I was thinking more of really investigating sort of by, you know, internet reading, maybe some of their publications, some of the you know, some of the you know, future colleagues. Also, you know, when I think about UNC, I think there's a lot of establishment with, you know, institutes and centers, you know, on this campus. And so to look at those as well, because, you know, that could be an avenue or a place where your research might be, and that you might want to highlight, you know, both in your cover letter and maybe in your research statement. You know, so if you're a cancer researcher, you know, I would be interested in affiliating myself with the Cancer Center, or if you said Slavic, I mean, you know, maybe with the Center for European Studies, or, I mean, so you really, you know, look at not just the department, but the broader university environment. You know, it could be technology or equipment. You know, maybe if you're a basic scientist, that this particular university has, you know, very, very state-of-the-art equipment in something, and that you would be interested, you know, in affiliating yourself with that particular place on campus. So that's what I mean by investigating. Now, I mean, you could very well take and actually it wouldn't be such a bad idea. I mean, you know, again, this is beyond the research statement, but knowing a little bit about the geography of the place. I mean, whether you even want to live there. I mean, you know, it would be good to know some of those things. So if you can visit or, you know, learn about it other ways, basically. So, you know, if you're a person from California like me, I mean, you know, going to any place that's like really, really cold and there's actual seasons, you know, that's like a big deal, basically, you know. So that was like a really big deal for me coming from the Bay Area to, well, Chapel Hill, so you know, we have such mild winters now, but when I came as a doctoral student, it was like the worst winter that they had like in years, basically. And I'm like, what is this, you know? So, you know, this is why I didn't choose, you know, New York or Hopkins or anything. I mean, you know, so I, you know, that was tough for me. But anyway, I mean, geography is, and particularly at that point of your career. You know, a doctoral student, you know, you can pretty much live anywhere, right? And, you know, live on the floor of someone's, you know, room, or, you know, some house or something. But, you know, you're going into a junior assistant professor position or even a postdoc. It's like, you know, you might be thinking about wanting to start a family or you know, being more, I guess, you know, grown up or something. So really that geography is even more relevant, I think. And it's just something to think about. Where do you like to live? You know, because it's not going to just be a few years. It could be a long, long time.
For postdoc positions that would be research-based postdocs and that would require a statement, are there any changes that you would recommend for
So the postdoc positions are a little bit different, right? Because their application, so that will definitely have some kind of page limit. I think they're different than the research statements. I mean, I think it depends on which position you're applying to. I would read the guidelines really, really well and, get a sense of the kinds of things that they're interested in you. It's almost like an essay. It's like, applying to a doctoral program or applying to medical school or something like that. I mean, it's going to be more like that. And, I'm happy if you want to send me, I'm happy to sit down with you and just look over that, because I would say that's a little bit different than this type of research statement that's for the academic job market that you can use later on and adapt and modify for promotion, that kind of thing. It'll be slightly different.
I was just going to respond to your question. I've seen a research statement for a postdoc. It was a shortened section on previous and current research, and an extended section on so the future research was written in a way, what is the specific project that you want to work on while in the postdoc position? What are the specific aims? So a more extended section there.
I think it really depends upon the postdoc. What's the application?
On that, it's a follow-up.
Just if you were in, yes, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like I said, when you're at that point, and I've helped, some doctoral students with, their postdoc application. The structure will really depend on the things that they're interested in. So like you were talking about aims. So that, if they want you to write it more like sort of a mini little grant proposal, that's a different structure and organization. Are there any other questions? And do you know how to contact me if you ever let's see. Well, I'm on the CFP website, so cfp.unc.edu. I can put it on there. Okay, great. Can you see that? So yeah, you can set up an individual consultation with me, and I would be happy to, whether it's a research statement or a post-on application.
Okay, sort of following on what she was saying, if you're applying into more of a postdoc for a biomedical position, and they ask you to give your past research experience and then your future research experience as much as possible, when you look into the labs that you're interested in, you see what your research goals are, how much is it that they want you to, I know it's all depends on the individual, but dedicating the amount or the space to sort of propose a project versus dedicating the time to show that these are the conceptual topics that you're interested in. So that, because I know a lot of the times you can get in and do someone already has a grant and they're looking for you to take over this portion of their R01 and integrate these various types of data
Yeah.
versus you might have to write something in that 32 afterwards. How would you go about doing that, especially when it might not be easy to get that information out of the program?
So if you're doing a postdoc that's more, more public health or biomedical based in that sense, and they're asking for that sort of what do you see yourself doing in the future, I would write it in the way that makes it a little bit broad. You're not talking about specific research projects, but you might want to say, like, I'm interested in building on to what I'm currently doing, I would like to apply for, whether it's an F-32, or I would like to apply for a career development, a K award, and building upon this research in this particular way, but not being really, really specific sort of at the Ames level.
Okay.
Because again, a postdoc position, the assumption is, maybe this is a wrong assumption, and maybe some people think they're gonna stay, but my feeling is that postdoc position is, this is a temporary place that you're gonna be until you go to the faculty position. Sometimes you stay, but I think that you should write it as, this is how I see my trajectory being, regardless of where I am. And like if you're arts and humanities, it's like, maybe if it's about scholarship or books, my interest is to build upon what I'm doing, and I'm interested in branching into this particular area for another book or whatever. I think similarly you can do it that way if it's a postdoc position. Well, thank you so much for having me. And there's an evaluation, if you could please take up a minute